Kansas and round 5 of the championship. A track which has all of the hallmarks to making itself a very interesting challenge today. Interesting in what sense? The sense that we've got high speeds and we're traveling nearly at 350 Ks through some of these corners, getting as much as you possibly can out of these engines. It's going to feel like a dyno test at this point in time, but it's going to be great action nevertheless here with Crest Autosport and your Crest Autosport iRacing IndyCar series. Welcome to the party, welcome to the conversation. I'm Jake Sperry, bringing you all of the action here today. Producer, of course, William Foyle. We're here, of course, with the main sponsor of today's action, Apex Tracks, the motorsport and motor racing circuit wall art racetrack sculpture designers who manufacture using Formula One and motorsport inspired rapid prototyping technologies. That goes along with Track Racer, of course, 603 Autosport, Digital Motorsport, Esports Sim, and the GP box to go along with that as well. And we are live and uninterrupted when it comes to our action with Crest Autosport TV via Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch as well. Welcome along to the party. If you haven't had the chance to already, like, follow, subscribe, whatever you need to do here, there, everywhere to make sure that you are up together with some of the amazing action that's going to be taking place today. So, a little look at where we are at this point in time. This wonderful Kansas circuit and every bit of work that has to be done here in Kansas City, Missouri. This is going to be a very, very aggressive battle that we have moving forward. Has been a slight change, though, to the calendar moving forward. Next round is going to be moved away from Long Beach in California. We're going to go to the other side of the United States, to upstate New York, and to Watkins Glen, an easier challenge, some would say. There was a lot of fears around all these drivers going out there and finding themselves in the barriers. So Watkins Glen, the change on the calendar for the first road round of 2 over the course of the season. And that will be happening, of course, on the 1st of March. So pinch punch first of the month, why don't we? But on top of that as well, you have to keep in mind there will be a week's break in between Watkins Glen and Iowa, and that run-in for the championship, the 19th of April at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 100. Worth noting as well that the winner of the Indianapolis 100 plus the top 3 in the championship are going to be picking themselves up a plaque which was provided to us by Uncle Luke's Sign and Sticker Shop. On top of that, the winner of the series will win, provided by Apex Tracks, a sculpture of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway pin up on their driver's wall. So, a lot to put into mind. This is how the championship stacks up going through into this round. It's a 16-point lead for Timothy Stroh, who got there with a dominant display at his favorite circuit, the Milwaukee Mile. And that will go along with drivers behind Leonardo Paletta in second through consistency. Thijs Barendregt having a truly atrocious run, finds himself in third. Alex Everett and Jeremy Pronk, they are tied for 4th in the championship at this point on 78 points. Then you've got Dave Steadman in 6th and Ben Bennyworth 7th overall. Points a lot of this time are going to be very crucial, especially with the 2 drop rounds that are going to be available for drivers today. So Stroh has control of the championship, was the last driver into practice, so he'll be definitely looking for a strong result here today. The team's championship will also be quite interesting to keep in mind. It's the T&D Racing team who find themselves up at the top with 193 points. They've got a 60-point lead over the ALP team, who, by the way, last time out did not have Alfredo Morales scoring for them. So a still really strong result for them despite that. Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks have 128 points, and then the 603 Autosport team down on 82 points as the 4th of the 2-man teams who are out there today looking to try and score as many points as they possibly can. There you see, doing doughies there. Pretty much getting ready for practice and hoping to find the victory is Nigel Stock. So Nigel there, making sure that he has got that well worn as he gets himself ready to go. Feels like he's got all of his practice sorted. Ninth fastest out there at the moment in practice. But what more can you say about how amazing this championship can be? There is Thijs Barendregt making his way around. We do have here today, as we find ourselves inside the final minutes, one new driver jumping up into the series. It's the 42 machine, the answer to life, universe, and everything, apparently. Lars Petter Andersen will be jumping in as well. The Scandinavian, also part then of the basic race team, races from Club Scandinavia, I should say, with the Dutch flag there, the Dutchman hoping for good work out there today. So Lars Petter Andersen, part of the basic racing team, hasn't got all of the tracks on the calendar, so we'll be jumping in as and where is the right way to say it, but hopefully we'll see a good performance here today from a very, very accomplished field. As it was as well in practice last time, Jamie Jenkins has the fastest time, a 24.570, and this should be the all-important challenge today here from the Kansas Speedway, as we are just about ready now to jump ourselves over towards qualifying and how qualifying works today if you are new and you are here for the first time, ladies and gentlemen. So, qualifying is an open session of 20 minutes, but drivers will not be going out all at the same time as they would traditionally do. Effectively, it is hot shot, one-shot qualifying, and to get yourself up to the top, you're going to need to put some good results down and put some good laps down on the board. It will be Lars Petter Andersen, who is new to the series. He will go first as they go traditionally in this qualifying in reverse championship order. So Andersen will be able to get this start on what is, again, another bumper grid. 17 drivers here today looking to put their times in on the board. And Lars Petter Andersen will now set off along the apron and will soon be able to get the running going that is very much needed for his first of 2 laps that he will have to set around the track. What is going to be important, though, is how this track will settle. Track temperature is 40 degrees, and it is absolutely blustering at this point. 29 kilometers an hour from the southeast, so they're really feeling it here today. Over the stripe then and in towards 1 and 2. This is one of your traditional 1.5 milers, your cookie cutters out then here around this place today. And the question is going to be, who is going to be able to mastermind what they can? Running up over 355, ducking down their 5th gear. This is going to be a flat-out expanse. You're going to need to mastermind your way through. You're going to get it done. That's a 25.412 to open things up. And now this will be the true attempt, staying way low, trying to get up as much as possible to about the 2-3 degrees of banking on the backstretch, dipping back down again for 3 and 4 and looking to make that drive over towards the line. What is it going to be for Lars Petter Andersen to set? The answer is a 25 flat as the opening attempt then on lap times. So very solid work there from the opening time. Jamie Jenkins, though, will certainly be next and will be looking for a good, strong start to this one. Looks pretty good in practice, but practice only means some things. Qualifying definitely does mean another. We'll see what the privateer can manage here, gearing up this first lap for an all-important second foray forward into what is key. They do have the anti-roll bar and, of course, the weight jacket to play with out there as long as laps go, and that is a 25.080, just a little bit behind then with that opening attempt. And expect those times to be a little bit slower than the ones that they were able to do in practice, because a lot of this track is very draft dependent here in the hot and stifling conditions. So it might be that drivers are going to be 0.2, maybe 0.3 of a second off the pace. But over the line, it's a 24.998 for Jamie Jenkins in the number 48 machine. And that's good enough for provisional pole position at this point in time. Patrick Lindeboom then for 603 Autosport is going to be next. The 25, teammates with Steven de Grevelier. We're certainly hoping for a good run in the yellow today. Looks very, very similar to a Simon Pagenaud livery, running around through 3 and 4, looking to get this opening lap then set up on the books. And on the first lap, that is going to be a 25.343. So setting it up nicely, but what can the second lap do by comparison? Taking the middle lane, moving up the circuit, so not able to dip down, scared potentially of scrubbing a little bit of speed, and then through this second lap for Linderboom, getting right down up against that white line, the apron line. They can't duck underneath it at any point in time during the racing. That's 25.210, and that is the slowest time as we have seen so far. But here will now come a driver who hasn't had the best of luck so far this season. Missed the race last time out due to work commitments. And Alfredo Morales then is next. Let's listen in then as he gears up his first lap for success. .110, the opening lap. Will the second lap be any different from the Venezuelan, who stays right down low, coming off of 2? And this is the first time we've seen a real change. We see a lot of drivers try that out to in as they move into corners, staying low, effectively minimizing as much track as possible. Morales will come to the line with an 0.88. It wasn't enough to improve, so third fastest at best for Alfredo out there today. It will now be the stock racing car of Nigel Stock, who will be hoping that he puts himself in the best possible position. Car number 26 had a really good run at the Milwaukee Mile a week ago, and will be certainly hoping to get himself back to similar positions or even better here today. Will this be the sort of race you can gain something from? 25.310, the opening lap, is it a full 1/10 of a second behind Patrick Linderboom at this point. So the 26 has got to find a bit more to get by the 25, and then some of the other drivers out there moving again into 3 and 4, happy to ride up the circuit on turning, then middling the corner, stays low, and then running through the tri-oval over to the line. 25.129, it's good enough for 4th position there. So Nigel Stock putting a pretty stock run down in on the board. Mr. Consistency of finishes is in the number 19 machine. That's Logan Egan, who will be trying to find a top 10 out here today, as he has traditionally been targeting all season long, has made it to every round, and believe it or not, for an IndyCar series, the only American out there and racing. So makes the run through 1 and 2 and now into 3 and 4. You can see it's not really going to be challenging in the terms of you're going to have to hit the brakes really a lot. You're going to have to just be patient here today with the throttle and keep yourself there. 25.281, not bad at all. It goes slowest so far, but there is still opportunities to go and find that bit of pace that is there. Hitting 6th gear all the way around at this point in time. Not something that we traditionally see. Drivers sticking in 6th gear. You don't have the high-end revs. You're not using all of the engine out there. So 25.153 the time. Goes 5th fastest, so not bad from Logan Egan. But sometimes you see drivers flicking between 5th and 6th, trying to get themselves as much as they can. Here is the RDR Lagoon Sim Racing car, though, of Fran Herrera out there at this point. Fran, of course, a driver who needs no introduction in this series. The 85 has been here for a very long time. We'll be certainly hoping for great results here today. Will the Spaniard making that run again, 3 and 4, and quite hopefully it will be about what chances do you have put the best possible times in. That's a 3:17 to open up times here, so that's 7th fastest, and drivers here over the course of the session are going to be at the whims of the elements. The track has just crept up to 41 degrees. We are in the midday sun, so drivers are going to have to be a little bit alert to that. They could lose a little bit of pace compared to those who are at the beginning of qualifying. Little wiggle coming to the line is a 25.051 from Fran, who moves 3rd fastest with a really good time there. So work being done in by the Spaniard it certainly has worked. Ollie Peters, though, in the 88 car is next. And what more can you say about him? He has struggled a little bit with finding consistency over the course of the races. He's been a little bit crash happy. But if there is a place today where you can just keep yourself nicely on it, put yourself up near the front, and really find a shake-up in qualifying that we haven't necessarily seen all season long, he could be the sort of driver who puts himself up near the top. So his first time, a 25.432, a banker. We saw him running all the way around the outside. And we will see how good the time is here. Ollie happy to stay low on this attempt of a flying lap. And will it work as he makes this drive over towards that tri-oval once again? 24.998 to beat 25.031. It's third fastest from Ollie Peters. And it is just about enough then to put the second row of the grid on notice. Inigo Mardones then is next. Let's listen in. And that will be the first duck underneath the apron. Those laps are now going to be very much kept in the back of the mind as Inigo Mardones there sets a 25.391. He'll have to be careful on that second lap that he doesn't do exactly the same thing again, because if he does, then it is going to be very much concerning. Stays up this time after a little bit of advisement from race control. So 25.034 goes fourth fastest. So it'll be interesting to see what race control are going to do about that, whether it's just a warning or whether that is going to be something bigger by comparison. There is Steven de Grevelier out there on track. The Belgian looking for the all-important laps. And after what was an incredible start to his career, a fourth place finish, he has certainly just been consistently putting in the results, which puts him where he is right now in the championship. Little bit of weaving, and that's going to be a bit much then of work. 25.337, that opening time. So bottom at the moment, but we've seen a lot of that. Drivers unable to get it going on that first lap, but this second lap has certainly been key to it as he just stutters a little bit there out there in the sim. Always going to be a bit of a concern when that happens, but still going to make that drive towards the line. It will be a little look. It's a 25.029, and it's third fastest with that one. 2 thousandths clear of Ollie Peters. De Grevelier with a great lap, and he was looking aggressive in practice. But next up then is going to be Ben Bennyworth. New livery on the car. He got what it takes, and I'm sure this is going to be all important. If you can get this lap sorted, it might just be a very, very important lap to get it sorted. You've got that 96. You've got that opportunity. How's the first lap looking? 25.218. Not bad, but there's still a chance for improvement. I did manage to get myself lost there halfway through what I was saying and said the same thing twice. That's beautiful. But moving on up then the track, going to 3 and 4, looking for chances to make this lap happen. We have seen drivers slowly finding what they need out to the circuit, pushing up high, diving back low. It's a 25.116. It's only 8th fastest for Ben Bennyworth. So a little bit down the order, but not the end of the world today. This is the sort of track where it is not going to be as decisive, I would believe, if you find yourself in the wrong position. Dave Steadman, though, T&D, won the opening round of the championship, has not been back to victory lane since, and it has been a real struggle to put it all together. Dave Steadman's number 74 needs a little bit of something. 25.266, the time that initially sets it out, and we haven't seen too much variation here. It's been about 2 tenths, just a little bit, 2 1/4 tenths between the top and the bottom of the field. 3 and 4, they come along once again. 100 laps worth of racing today, so put yourself in the right position. That's a 24.980. Steadman dethrones Jamie Jenkins up at the top by 18 thousandths of a second. And that really does now change the perspective of everything. Jeremy Pronk is going to be up next in the number 52 Dutch Sim Racing Team car. Someone who has been a masterful qualifier in the past, can put himself up there at the very top. There are 4 to follow after him. First lap is a great lap, actually, a 25.112 out there at this stage. So how is this going to play at this point in time? The 52 making that narrow run towards 3 and 4. You're not scrubbing enough speed to go high down to low, and that's going to be the philosophy we'll see from a lot of these drivers up the pointy end. And over the line is a 25.026. Comes up ahead of De Grevelier, 4th fastest there for Jeremy Pronk. Alex Everett then will be the next driver in position, trying to get his lap sorted. The Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks car. Slow start to the season, starting to find though good results, and this might be a case where there needs to be just a little bit more out there going for the attack. So pushing for it right now. That opening lap, the 25.452, used all of the banking trying to open up this lap, and it might just be a case where it might just be the lap of laps if Everett can just pull himself together and really find the magic that he has been searching for. Making the charge over towards the line. 24.974. It's on pole for the moment for Alex Everett in the number 2. The reigning champion goes next, and he'll have the bit between his teeth. He's struggled in qualifyings all season long, but this is a time where Thijs Barendregt needs to find everything that he needs. So this is going to be where you find questions. Getting the line sorted for this second lap. Barendregt then, 25.398. Got one more lap yet though, and this is going to be the all-important one. We've seen how crucial the gaps have been between these drivers. 6 thousandths only between Everett and Steadman. Thijs Barendregt now wants to put himself in the picture, in the mix. He knows he's points down in the championship and has had to use a drop. Gets right up against the apron, driving for the line. 25.001, only 4th fastest with that lap, and only 2 drivers are now left available. Leonardo Paletta on to gear up his first of 2 flying laps. He's been Mr. Consistency all season, hasn't had a victory in the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series, but the Venezuelan knows that ALP Green Machine has every reason to charge, to attack, and to put itself up at the very top, running through 3 and 4 for this opening attempt. And well, Paletta 25.094, not bad, 12th fastest with that opening time. It's a great banker, but does that obfuscate anything that goes on later on in this lap? Because he is absolutely gunning it in that 5th gear. You can see the blue lights on that Cosworth steering wheel flashing at him, telling him, come on, I want to switch to 6th. But he says, no, I'm having none of it. 25.031 only though, and it's 9th fastest for the 97. There'll be a lot of work to do in the race with that pace, and so it comes to Mr. Qualifying, number 44, arguably the most famous number in motorsports for Timothy Stroh, who will be gearing up his first of 2 laps to try and put himself on pole position. Alex Everett has control of that at the moment in the number 2 Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks car, but the T&D Racing Machine is trying to gear up this opening lap, using all of the banking up top and looking to try and duck down for this chance. And he'll do so at the latest available opportunity here. That first lap is a 26 flat, so absolutely not representative. 348.47 off of the exit. Then you start gearing back up the cadences to 356, moving into 3 and 4, slowly shrugging off a little bit of speed here and there, just dipping to 349, making the run to the line. 24.9, 3, 2, 400ths quicker. Timothy Stroh cannot be stopped over 1 lap pace, and he takes another crucial pole position here at the Kansas Speedway. What a great qualifying lap that was, and it's almost becoming automatic with him the last to go out in comparison to everybody else. Let's get a look then at qualifying, see how everybody will stack themselves up for the race happening after 5 minutes of warm-up. Incredible work being done here by all of the drivers to all be split by just 0.3 of a second, but it will be Timothy Stroh in the T&D Racing Team, 24.932. We'll have Alex Everett for company with Dave Steadman third and Jamie Jenkins lining up 4th position. Thijs Barendregt will go from 5th with Lars Petter Andersen in 6th on his debut, with Jeremy Pronk 7th and Steven de Grevelier in 8th place on the grid. Ollie Peters will start 9th, and a surprise for the 97 of Leonardo Paletta. He'll have work to do from 10th position if he wants the result that he will try and crave today, with Inigo Mardones in 11th, looking at potentially starting from the pits after what happened with him today, with the issues that went on with his qualifying run. So he's 11th right now, with Fran Herrera in 12th and Alfredo Morales in 13th. Surprised to see Ben Beddyworth down in 14th position. Nigel Stock will line up 15th, with Logan Egan 16th and Patrick Linderboom rounding out the 17 cars today on what will be an incredible challenge here from Kansas. So, final preparations are needed here in the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series. This 5-minute warm-up is your last chance to understand how the car will react in the conditions, with drivers around you, the dirty air, the buffering that you see around, and how you need to be aggressive to make some moves. Today is going to be a very difficult challenge, and we've seen a lot of drivers get a lot of runs out there over the course of what is going on today. Timothy Stroh, for example, 13th fastest in the practice, or in the warm-up, I should say, right now. But what you really do understand with this track is that it is very draft dependent. And because it is, you are going to get these wonderful runs. These drivers are going to have to be a bit concerned as well about engine temperatures today. But they should be a very important balance that is going through. We do apologise, ladies and gentlemen, that our overlay package is a little bit stuck at this moment in time, but sure as sure can be, we will soon be able to try and fix the issues that we have moving forward. But at least for the time being, we have ourselves some wonderful work that has been done, and almost like magic, they can see how everyone looks in terms of this warm-up. But start figuring out what you need. 100 laps. This is one of the few series out here in iRacing that is quote-unquote medium distance for IndyCar-style drivers on the iRacing service. You've got that short sprint-style format of 50 laps, 45 laps, that one-stop feel that gets yourself into play, or that no-stop feel, we should say. Then you've got the really difficult stuff, as that is how not to get yourself caught into the pack there. Timothy Stroh almost running up into Alex Everett there, who jumped on the scene late. But you've got those long races as well that are official distances, just like the real world, can be very long, very tiresome. This is the happy middle ground, and really does challenge you at almost a 2/3 style distance, or a halfway distance. And as a halfway house, probably the best racing you can get out there, normally clocked in and around an hour, for just how great the racing is. But you got to settle some of the battles out there on circuit, and you can see here how drivers look to try and side draft ever so slightly up on the top, look to get the runs that are so important here through 1 and 2. And going to be very squirrely here today. You want to stay in range of the draft. You want to give yourself opportunities. And it's going to be so easy today to lose touch, to lose ground. And if that does indeed happen, then this sort of race is going to be a very long one by comparison. They do have room as well to work too wide as Nigel Stock and one of the 603 cars there finds themselves in trouble. That's Stephen de Grevelier out there on circuit in all sorts of hurt. So for Nigel Stock, he finds himself on the wrong side of that move happening. And this is the concern that you have, because you can push 2, sometimes even 3 wide. And the smallest tap at these incredibly high speeds can send you on a ride here today. And as we look at Timothy Stroh, who we get a driver's eyes perspective, this is what he sees as he runs through behind the fabled shield out here and running in towards 1 and 2. Checker flag then will come out in the warm-up, and we will head ourselves down to the grid then today here from this wonderful Kansas Speedway. And as we said a few minutes ago, here's how everyone is going to be stacking up. It will be the T&D racing car of Timothy Stroh, number 44, out there in control of the field. He'll have Alex Everett for company on his inside. Row 2 will see Dave Steadman and Jamie Jenkins there, looking to try and get their seasons back in order, with a Dutch third row, Thijs Barendregt and Lars Petter Andersen. 3 Brits then followed by 3 Dutchmen. Jeremy Pronk will go from 7th with Stephen de Grevelier in 8th. Row 5 consisting of Ollie Peters and Leonardo Paletta. Row 6 will see Inigo Mardones potentially start this one from the pits today in the number 11, or in the 11th position car at the moment, the number 17. We'll have Fran Herrera for company, the Spaniards, on row 6. With Alfredo Morales 13th and Ben Bennyworth 14th, you then have Nigel Stock, Logan Egan, and down there in 17th, second of the 603 Autosport cars, Patrick Linderboom makes up the field today here from Kansas Speedway. So, all to play for. Clock expires, and a couple drivers then did not get themselves gridded up forward. Inigo Mardones was certainly one of them. The other one, and this is due to a server disconnect at just the wrong time, Stephen de Grevelier, who will miss the start. So a real shame for Stephen, who looked like he had everything sorted out today and got himself into the play with a very good qualifying effort, put himself 8th place. His race may just be done before it is even started. He will be able to get back in the server at any time, jump in the car and race, but points, well, don't expect many of them after an issue like that. It does happen. The worst time for it to happen is on startup on the grid. So, running through to 3 and 4, Stroh in control of the field behind the iRacing sedan safety car, which had 8 appearances last time at the Milwaukee Mile. We're all hoping that maybe it gets slightly less usage out there today. Still, though, opportunities to showcase just what is capable. Pace car dives in under the control of Stroh. We'll come to the green flag, and we are underway from Kansas Speedway. Immediately all the way back down to the nether reaches of the top 10. It stays single file. Morales looks behind him. Bennyworth, Fran Herrera dropping way back, but out then they go and start to fight. It's on for the lead because Everett will go to the outside, trying to pick this one off then, giving a little pinch, and is going to have the mark at the line. But here comes Steadman, 3 wide already on lap 2 of 100. Oh, this is incredible stuff, trying to get the move done. He's going to run out of steam with Steadman on the outside, but it just shows you how much of a margin you have to be willing to get to. Fran Herrera already in the pits then. His race pretty much all but done in the early goings, but out in front, it is Stroh who's got control. A bit of 2 wide in the middle of the field then as Lars Petter Andersen finds himself in a race with Jeremy Pronk, and almost 3 wide again up at the front as Steadman tries to find himself that lane up on the top side. Doesn't quite find itself into play, but again, Everett then is there, and it's the two T&D cars making a very lovely Crest Autosport sandwich in the middle, every which way you look. And we're seeing some great racing on play at this point. It stays too wide, and this might just be how it is for the majority of this race. Drivers being really close, but unable to make something happen. Ben Bennyworth's had an incredible start. He's up 5 spots. He's already looking to get past Lars Petter Anderson, and he'll have to try on that high line. He is a high line merchant, and once again he gets the help from the crew up on top. He'll steal it away with help from Jeremy Pronk in that Dutch sim racing team car. But back again to the front, just behind these three. You've got Jamie Jenkins in 4th, Thijs Barendregt 5th, Leonardo Paletta's made good progress off the start. He's up into 6th. Jenkins now will dive down underneath. He wants to move up to 3rd, but there is still that element of surprise from Everett there on the outside. He still wants to try and make this move, and it has been ferocious here to start at Kansas Speedway. It's always going to be close. It's always going to be pack racing mentality. You've got to be alert to everything. Little wiggle from Everett as he ducks back out again. Steadman has a little think as well as he wants to try and push once more to 3 wide as they run through 3 and 4 and back to the tri-oval. Once again, still everything is there in line, pretty much behind. They are happy to sit in the group and be there. Ollie Peters at the back of this group. I'll have Alfredo Morales for a bit of company. They have got to stay on. Linda Boom and Egan have fallen off the back. They'll be in their own race, but everyone is just starting to bunch up into Noah's Ark Sim Racing. A bit of 2x2 as Steadman gets a great run. Makes sure he holds off Jenkins, but suddenly there is no run for Ben Bennyworth as he gets spat out to the back of the group. Then as they all run through and try and find a lane, Jeremy Pronk really struggling actually through the corners, and this will open up Lars Petter Anderson to duck down low, and still it's 3 wide into 3 and 4. This is some incredible stuff that we are seeing here today, and ultimately it's a fight as well for 4th. As you can see, Leonardo Paletta making some great work off of the start of this race, and you have to move quickly in 100 laps. If it stays green all the way, we're going to be running there or thereabouts, only 25 minutes worth of racing. Still, making that all-important charge towards 3 and 4. And Paletta again on that high side, going to clear Jamie Jenkins and move up into 4th position. Barendregt will soon have to follow. But again, the low line is just covering everything off. There's not much you can do. You hit a buffer. You're going to need some friends out there today if you're going to make some passes. And you can see just everyone trying to search into line. And they're fanning out. And Jenkins almost goes up into the fence. As he comes back down, there you can see Pronk. There is Jamie Jenkins in 5th position. That will leave a gap to the Fantastic Four at the front of this field. And Kansas is certainly proving that we're going to have some great racing out there. Up top though, Logan Egan in the fence as he just tried to stay out of the way, and that will be him surely diving down into the pits then at the end of this lap, and that will be a shame for him. A green flag stop, not part of the strategy I would have thought, but again Everett happy to sit on that outside and try and find something to work with, and just a little bit of something. If anything, it stops Dave Steadman getting in, it stops Paletta getting in here on lap 12. It might just be another case of good racing as Paletta starts to wash up a little bit. Behind that, Barendregt has got through on Jamie Jenkins, who is starting to fall a little bit backwards in this field. So there are those concerns, but it's still going on, as well as Ollie Peters and Ben Bennyworth a little bit further back. That's still going, but everybody right now trying to get themselves into a lane and organise. It's going to be a very tough race to go out here and win. You can see there just making the move around, Barendregt holding, and now here comes Jeremy Pronk to the outside of Jamie Jenkins trying to find the move, and he's not going to get there. And you can see there on the apron, that was again Egan getting there. Good run by Pronk off the exit. He gets himself up to the point and will now take another very important position. 6th place, he's there, and now Nigel Stock is going to try and get himself into play as well. So this is where you're starting to work out what do you have available underneath you in these Dallara IR18s, as It is pretty much as you are, as you were. Stock gets it done. Peters now is going to fly on through. So too will try Ben Bennyworth. Little tougher here because they are trying on the high lane, but that should be enough. Pronk in the grass. Pronk trying to save it. What a save. Can he keep it in a straight line? That is world class. No, he hasn't. Oh, what a shame. Into the wall hard, and no caution gets called as we continue on. So somehow Pronk, with his incident, almost more drivers in trouble. We stay green here from this wonderful circuit. In front of these drivers, De Grevelier back in the race, 11 laps down here at this point in time. Everett still trying to find himself a way around the outside, but it is Jeremy Pronk who got it wrong and has just opened up the field for everybody else. And still that battling continues at the front. Everett happy to battle with Stroh, happy to battle with Steadman. If it's going to stay green the entire way, then it might just be a troublesome style of race. A little bit boxed in then is Alex Everett as he tries to get the draft and pull up alongside once again, and he is able to do that nicely. Gaps have really formed to the 6th, 7th, 8th place battle. Bennyworth versus Peters is another one here out, with Stock just in front of them. So still a huge amount of racing to go, but the gaps are forming, and you need to be within about 1.2 seconds if you want a chance of this race falling the way that you have hoped. So still not out of the woods just yet. Lap 19 moving to lap 20. Let's listen in for the first time then here in this race as the battle for the lead intensifies. And for the first time today, Alex Everett will take some laps led at the front, and it might not seem like much at the moment moving to the front in this field, but you do get a bonus point for having the most laps led, and Everett now is starting to move away. Stroh is struggling, coming out of 4 ever so slightly. He's washing up. He hasn't got a car built to run in the draft, I think. And now you're starting to see it. He's starting to lose a little bit of faith. And because they're catching slowly, De Grevelier, it is going to make life more difficult. Barendregt as well. He'll go around the outside of Leonardo Paletta and move himself up into 4th position. And the charge will continue as Dave Steadman will be next for Thijs, the reigning champ, as his basic racing team car will look to try and chase down the 2 T&Ds in 2nd and in 3rd at this moment in time. We have stayed green the entirety of the way through so far. You're not out of the race either if you have yourself an incident. You have the one fast repair that keeps you in, as we see just how important this battle is as they move through 1 and 2 once again. Barendregt starts moving up the track. Steadman just enough room. He's going to work on that outside line and get himself back to where he wants to be. And you'd say at this point, use your pace wisely. Stay with the group in front. Give yourself some margin out there on circuit, and don't be too concerned with the way that it's all going. De Grevelier, every right to be out there and racing. He is just there with Alex Everett, giving him a little bit of help here and a little bit of help there. But it is potentially not enough to get himself away to the tune that he maybe would have wanted in a race like this. Stroh, teammates come together. Paletta's gone as well. Top 2 in the championship. In trouble here at Kansas. Stroh and Paletta both in a whole world of hurt, and they're both going to be in trouble. Stroh sliding down on the apron, and that is disaster for both of them. They'll both have to come in. Stroh was struggling out of 4, and it was a case of him riding up into the wall in the hot conditions and nowhere to go. Everyone getting caught out as pandemonium continues. Stroh going across the grass in the infield, trying to find the pits. It has stayed green here at Kansas. Wow, unbelievable scenes at this point. Ben Bennyworth is now 2nd, by the way, with Barendregt in 3rd, and in 4th, Alfredo Morales. Oh my goodness. Steadman in the pits, Paletta's in the pits, Stroh is in the pits. Can see Pronk is a lap down. And that will certainly hurt their strategies as they take their fast repairs. Not the day that they were hoping for. But there is Ben Bennyworth, who started 14th, mind you, up to 2nd now in 27 laps. The work still there. And you can see Thijs Barendregt in 4th position. How much damage does he have on the rear of his machine? Logan Egan again has had to come down into the pits. Steadman rejoining the circuit then, in and around that 2nd place group. Alex Everett with control. These are the sorts of races that get you through the championship, and they are so, so important. If you can get it right, you can get it done, and if you can get these results. But at least for the moment, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we have to add Ollie Peters there, Jamie Jenkins in 6th. They've got work to do if they want it all to be in the plans that they have certainly been searching for. But once again, Ollie Peters this time gets a good run. And I wonder how much damage is there on the rear of Thijs Barendregt as he slowly starts to struggle back away from the rest of the group. And Ollie Peters comfortably dives around and moves himself up into 4th for the time being, but struggles up there on the top. And Barendregt will just loop one up underneath, and he will certainly do well. I feel like today is a tyre-saving adventure as well at this point, so they've got to be alert to how the tyres are reacting underneath them at this point. Just 10 drivers now on the leading lap of this race. Such has been the attrition factor of that big moment for Timothy Stroh out there. Peters continuing that scrap with Barendregt, and ultimately Thijs in the number 1, the reigning champ. He's okay for the moment. Ollie Peters again ducking down low, looking to give himself opportunity. They are bringing in Jamie Jenkins into the fight, and if you look just behind Jamie Jenkins, Lars Petter Anderson, the teammate of Thijs Barendregt, he's going to be in for a bit of a party as well. So there's still going to be that element of we can push, we can drive, we can get what is capable here. So that's going to be their work that they do. They have lost ground, though, to Ben Bennyworth and Alfredo Morales to the tune of about 1.5 seconds at this point by all of that battling. So they've really got to gather it back. Ben Bennyworth has really put himself and the Prime Motorsport machine into a wonderful position. And in fact, on that last lap, was able to take 0.4 seconds out of Alex Everett, who maybe is just starting now to not like what the tyres are giving him. So this is a case of both drivers here, 1st and 2nd, using lap traffic. The Grevalier for Everett, and it's Steadman for Bennyworth. And it's those two factors that are really going to come into play. Gap down now to 3 seconds at the front of the field. This one far from over on lap 35 out of 100. 1/3 of the race has already been scored as complete at this point in time. Still though, we've got great battling going on as Lars Petter Anderson here is going to dive down in for the pits. He made himself a little bit scarce. Potentially just grabbed the wall. In fact, he had a heavy hit against the wall, actually coming through for last lap. So that means he'll dive in. He'll get the fast repair if there is damage to the suspension. And if that's the case, then he's going to fall a couple laps down. And he's going to be in a world of hurt out there today. Just got to keep an eye out on everyone going forward. Logan Egan again in trouble as Ben Bennyworth now will dive down in. This will be on call for him as he will try and get their caution. Caution comes out just as Bennyworth dives into the pit. That might be the worst possible timing for it. It might have been Logan Egan who took the tow in the end, going down into the pits. He stopped out on circuit, and for Logan Egan taking that tow, we'll have our first caution of the race. Let's get a replay then. Exactly what happened. You can see he's up in the wall already. He tagged it out of 4, tried to stay slow, and the tyre up in the air that had been riding against the wall. Ghost riding, you could say, at that point in time. But as he puts himself into position, we're going to get ourselves a caution. And Ben Bennyworth here, able to wait until the end of the line, and effectively has given himself a free pit stop by jumping in right before the caution flag came out. And because of that, he will now be able, at this moment in time, to watch everybody else surely now on lap 38 dive down into the pits, get their stop sorted, and Ben Bennyworth's going to be at the front of the field. So talk about a bit of fortune there, as legitimately everybody who is not laps down in this race has gone in for their stop. So there's a battle of pit crews then with the first caution of the race. A hectic race so far at the Kansas Speedway. If you want to know where your drivers are who are fighting for the championship, Tim Stroh is in 12th position right now, 2 laps down. Leonardo Paletta, 2 laps down as well, down in 14th position at this point. Those two getting together with it. And now you're seeing the drive coming off of the exit. Everett, it'll be followed by Morales, Barendregt, Ollie Peters there, then Jamie Jenkins, Linda Boom coming out then as well. He is on the lead lap. Pronk is not, but Nigel Stock is. So Stock can come back out, as too can Inigo Mardones at this point. So there's still a whole heap of a lot of everything. I think actually Everett might still be in control. That Bennyworth, is almost a lap down at this point. So that will be my apologies here, ladies and gentlemen, if that's the case. So Ben Bennyworth may just be on the wrong side of the pace car at this point. And this will be a case of he should get a wave around to join back up with the leaders when the lights on the iRacing sedan safety car come off. And that opportunity to go racing once again will go through. Logan Egan's day is absolutely teed and total. So the American in the field will not be going any further here today. So for those of you who are watching as and where you are, hello and welcome. One caution so far. Alex Everett is your race leader at this point in time, but both Ben Bennyworth and Lars Petter Anderson should get wave arounds then as and when we line up with 1 to go before the green flag running gets itself into play. Fran Herrera dives back down again, then into the pits. His day is also written off then in this field. So the RDR Lagoon Sim racing car cannot find any reason to keep on going. But Alex Everett has struggled to put himself into a leading position all season long. Everyone behind him will be on exactly the same strategy. I doubt that there'll be enough for these drivers to get themselves home over the course of 60 laps. So they've still got a lot of things to think about when they want to get in, when they want to make those stops. Who's going to be brave enough to start thinking about the magic word of fuel saving to get themselves home? We haven't seen too much of that over the course of racing action here this season. But drivers then will pass the start-finish line. The lights will go off and drivers like Dave Steadman will go back onto the leading lap. Timothy Stroh now will find himself into position potentially. Still a lap down, yes, they will be, but it's the two of Bennyworth and Lars Petter Anderson who will find themselves now on the lead lap. And they will have that opportunity to line back up, give themselves a chance then of charging back through the field up to the front. It is Everett Morales Barendregt. And this, the goldenest of golden tickets for the reigning champion to get back into position with how the title picture currently stacks up. They have their first road race a week from today. They'll be going to Watkins Glen for that one, a change from Long Beach. And Watkins Glen in upstate New York is going to be a very, very difficult challenge, even at the best of times. So keep an eye out on when they go racing there. But there is the ALP Motorsport machine. Single file as it is on the restart. Pace car dives down in. Morales is actually going to follow the pace car into the pit. For Everett, there'll be a bit of a gap. Green flag and back underway here from Kansas Speedway. Morales making the call to dive down into the pits then at the end of the caution period. And all of a sudden, the race changes. There's Inigo Mardones, who, remember, darted off from the pit as they start fighting in front. Patrick Linderboom moving up then into 4th position, getting by Ollie Peters as he gets aggressive, trying to come back underneath him here on that run towards 1 and 2 once again, and going through. Thank you very much. Ollie Peters will hold on for the time being. Good scrapping behind. The front 2 now have closed up. This was the title fight from last season. Alex Everett, Thijs Barendregt, these two fighting each other at the front of the field once again. And look at Barendregt absolutely monstering up onto the back. I think Alex Everett's just happy to let him go and happy to let him be aggressive and take some laps at the front. The fuel save game might just already be on for car number 2 of Alex Everett. You got Jamie Jenkins as well. He's closing up at a rate of knots in 3rd position, so he's definitely got his eyes set on the prize. And speaking of eyes set on the prize, do not count Ben Bennyworth out of this race. He's trying to navigate through the traffic. His next bit of traffic to deal with is a certain Jeremy Pronk that he's got to get by, and he might even use Pronk to get to the likes of Stock and Mardones out there as they fight for 6th and for 7th out there in this field. Just 5 laps away now from the halfway stage as Thijs Barendregt and Alex Everett will go pretty much door to door, quote unquote, over the start-finish line. Pretty much side pod to side pod, with Barendregt at a 0.5 of a second's advantage leading this field. Everett in 2nd, Jenkins currently in 3rd and thinking about pushing it 3 wide in the very, very pretty Cerulean machine. And that was an opportunity potentially, but the more these top 3 battle, the more they'll allow Peters and Linderboom in. And I'm pretty sure Alex Everett would like his teammate Ollie there to go and give a little bit of help and harassment to Jamie Jenkins and make his life a little bit easier out there on circuit. You talk about 1.6 seconds sometimes, as far back as you can drag a car back around on the ovals. So you've really got chances to make things happen if you are alert to it. And if they are starting to pull back, these drivers, that fastest lap bonus point could be legitimately going anywhere here today. And those bonus points, they do add up, as Alex Everett, again, on the outside, is going to have to try and work again with Thijs Barendregt, find a way to get around and find a way to move on forward in this race. So over the line once again, Jenkins now is going to decide he wants to slide in low, and he's not quite there. Behind, Ben Bennyworth has made the pass on Nigel Stock, so moves up into 7th position. Inigo Mardones will be next. Now the leading pack has started to form up quite nicely behind here. 9 drivers on the lead lap. Others a lap down. Here comes Ollie Peters on the high side as he tries to take it away from Jamie Jenkins, and he's going to manage it. Would you look at that? And big duck down low on his teammate. Not going to quite get there. Thijs gets a couple car lengths to get himself some respite as they run through 3 and 4. Everett happy with the middle lane. Bennyworth now has worked his way around Inigo Mardones, and with power gets around Linderboom. Car in trouble almost as well as Leonardo Paletta as he brushed up against the wall ever so slightly 2 laps down. Have to be careful of that, doesn't want a DNF. Linderboom comes up the circuit and into the wall. Into the wall will go Nigel Stock. And will we have a caution? He continues to keep it going. Everyone's got by him. He'll drop down onto the apron. We'll continue racing, but all of a sudden that could have been disaster out there. Top 5 looking to charge at this moment, and you really are seeing here the run of Ben Bennyworth on that high line. He's got it dialed in a way that nobody else in this field has managed. Everett and Peters side by side as Peters goes down low. So there you see it, how important this is. Ben Bennyworth switching down low side, taking it away from Jamie Jenkins and up into 4th position. Has had to come through the field twice now to get what was wanted, and now they're going to start stacking up for the lead as well as they pilot through for it. Everett took a few laps underneath his wing to not really concern himself too much, and now he can see for 3rd as well. Being caught in the dirty air through 3 and 4 was Ollie Peters. Here comes the move. Not quite there for Ben Bennyworth. Up the track on the exit. Bennyworth's going to duck down low. He might just steal this one away here from Ollie. If he does have it all stacked up. Drivers have been really struggling with the tyres. Especially when they get longer into a stint and they get that understeer and that aero push around the track. It certainly has been a huge factor here on lap 55 out of 100 here today. Again, Peters looking up high. Barendregt, your race leader. Everett currently in second position. Tim Stroh with his work has moved himself back up into 9th place now. Paletta remaining in 12th behind Jeremy Prom. Still though, you wouldn't say the race is done as once more they fight into 1 and 2. Bennyworth now officially up into 3rd place. They've brought Inigo Mardones back onto this group, the Spaniard. But I'd say at the moment, any one of these drivers has a legitimate shot of winning this race outright. They just have to be in the right place at the right time. Easier for those on the front. Everett making the turn then through 1 and 2. Trying to take this race lead away in any way that he can. And it's not going to be an easy one. You're not going to have everything your own way today. But it is still going to be a difficult race as there is a pass in the back. Patrick Linderboom potentially with a bit of damage. Overtaken by Lars Petter Andersen, who on debut will now be in 7th position. So good work from him to get back up through with that pass and get himself there. Jenkins now has got through Ollie Peters, and the top 3 have broken away here. Barendregt, Everett and Bennyworth then. The top 3 figuring out what they need to do as they reach lap 59 of 100. Still a long way to go. Still a lot of battling. Potentially another pit stop. And someone like Ben Bennyworth knows he's got to bide his time. As Alex Everett again will move on that high side. Look to be aggressive. Look to steal the place away. But again, that low line has been doing more than enough. And for all of iRacing's dynamic track and how different grooves over time do rubber in and give themselves opportunities, it's not doing enough at the moment to really shake the status quo that we've got in this race. So there is still elements of attacking. There is still work. And let's not forget here, Timothy Stroh in the 44. If he can make his way past everybody in this field, he'll be back on the leading lap. And that'll be crucial if there's a second caution in this race, that he can get back to the leading lap and give himself an opportunity to go and win this one outright. Up the track goes Jamie Jenkins. He will lose a place then as he struggled through the corners. And Inigo Mardones flying through. So too now goes Ollie Peters as he dashes on through. Looks like maybe a mistake for car number 48, and it was going through 1 and 2. He got a huge wiggle down on the bottom, saved the car from going up into the barriers, and as such keeps his race in 6th place at this point in time. There is the 9th place runner, Stroh! Jenkins in trouble in the wall, and he's also brought Lars Petter Andersen with him. We stay green for the moment, but there could be a caution at any time. Jenkins off in, and there goes the caution here. Caution at Kansas. What were we just saying? Jenkins was struggling with the grip, and suddenly it all goes wrong. Everyone now surely is going to come down in for a pit stop, bring themselves in for the end. But a big accident there. Stroh somehow avoiding it. Jenkins spread eagle across the track. And on top of that, very nearly losing it on top was Patrick Linderboom, who just about avoided everything too. But we've got a race on our hands. Here's a look at it. Jenkins, into the side pod. In fact, Stroh did make contact there with Lars Petter Andersen. The question's going to be, how much did he actually get away with that hit? I think he just about did all right with it. We'll see again, but tell you what, that wasn't quite the nicest place to be in the world when you get a hit like that. Everyone, though, diving in. Those of whom are leaders are certainly hoping for a really good chance then today. And this is their chance as they make their stops. They want to try and make things happen. Stroh will go back onto the leading lap as he didn't come down into the pits. And crucially, as he didn't, Barendregt will get out ahead then of Alex Everett. It'll be Bennyworth third, and crucially, Inigo Mardones will come out in fourth position. Then with the stops that have gone through, no drivers taking that choice to remain out, and why would they? 7 drivers now on the leading lap of this race. And with 1/3 of the race left to run, it is anything beyond anything that could happen at this point. All drivers that are in front right now will also get that wave around, which has been so very vital. They'll get their lap back the manual way. So the likes of Stroh will be back on the leading lap. Steadman will still be a lap down, along with Jeremy Pronk and Leonardo Paletta, both a lap down. So they still have work to do. They still have places to gain in this race. And for what has been a hectic run, the day is not over. It has been over, though, for the 14 of Jamie Jenkins. His day done. The fast repair already used at the first stop. Would have hoped he didn't need to use that again. But ultimately, there you go. The swings and roundabouts of the racing that you have here at Kansas Speedway. But at least for now, here's a little look on how drivers have gained or dropped during this race. Ben Bennyworth and Patrick Linderboom both up 11 spots here in this one. And I would say we've got a day of racing that is far from done here at Kansas. So, not long left in the race. Everyone good to the end. Straight up, this is a battle. You can see everyone, when they have last pitted, Stroh, lap 25, definitely wants to get his lap back before he dives in, makes his stop. It's going to be tall order for him to make it to the end. He'll still have to make that stop, but when is the question? Doesn't want to drop that lap. Paletta's going to dive in then from a lap down, make a crawl on the lane. Shouldn't lose him too much, but at this point, you may as well. Alex Everett then in second. Ben Bennyworth has been a menace in third. And then you got the quiet Inigo Mardones hoping to move up from what was effectively a start from the pits to potentially a third place finish, a win. There are chances as drivers get waved around the field. And Stroh will be absolutely marauding to get onto the back. But he'll know he'll still have to pit one more time. And my goodness, would the 44 be hoping for a very quick caution here today. Still, though, they are going to have to be a little bit concerned as they reach turns 3 and 4. We are going back green again on this lap. And we will be going back onto the start of lap 67 of our 100 laps worth of racing, which means 34 laps to decide the winner of the 5th round of the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series. Pace Sedan down on the lane. Thijs Barendregt will wait for the green and will get the go here as they get the jump. And with that green, Ollie Peters, alert to the jump, will go around Inigo Mardones here and will jump Ben Bennyworth potentially as well. So this could have been a really strong start. Doesn't quite get it sorted. Going through 2, will drop into line, but still got a +1 off of that start. Everett then on the outside of Thijs Barendregt, fighting for that race lead. It's not quite there just yet, and it's a similar story as they run through the tri-oval. It's a very tough place today to go and get a pass done on the leader. You need help up top if you're going to get it done. You got Ben Bennyworth, you got Ollie Peters, you got Inigo Mardones, all there, all trying to line it up. Linderboom in 6th. Timothy Stroh is 7th, but surely due to make a stop. There's no way you can go 75 laps on a tank of fuel. That's outrageous if you can. But look how close they get as they fight on the front and trying to think about 3 wide. 2 by 2 they go Struggling up top is Ben Bennyworth. Ollie Peters now moves to Crest Cars, second and third out there at this point. You do have to wonder at what point can they go out there aggressive? What point out there can they go and get what they want? Thijs is taking lap lead after lap lead after lap lead. And that'll be a crucial bonus point as he tries to give himself enough to close down Timothy Stroh and Leonardo Paletta in the championship. Paletta won't be so much of a factor today. 3 wide, they'll search for second as Bennyworth up top, trying to get around. So too Peters, so too Everett. And through the middle, it is going to be Ollie Peters who will lose out because it was Everett through the middle. There's a car in the infield. That's Alfredo Morales in trouble with damage to the rear as he spun the car, not once but twice. And he had his contact with Jeremy Pronk as they went down the circuit. So we stay green here at this point in time after Morales' mishap out there. And still, the top 6 look pretty set and certain at this point. Again to the outside goes Alex Everett, trying to make something work. And again, he's not quite got it, but Ollie Peters gets a monster run and moves up to the top of the circuit. They pass by the stricken Alfredo Morales for ALP. That'll be good news for the team's championship then for those 2 drivers. But the run continues on. How much drive can they get? Ben Bennyworth is searching back again underneath. He'll want to try and move up once more, get into 3rd position if it's possible. And he'll tuck underneath with the toe, give himself that chance. They run into 3 and 4 once again. The dirty air will buff it heavily though, and so too it will for 6th position. And Patrick Linderboom, who drops back a couple tenths of a second and is really trying everything possible here to get back into play. Ollie Peters riding up against the wall there, going in towards 1 and 2. He's got to be careful about that. Doesn't want to be tagging the wall out of nowhere, and it's that lack of concentration that can get you at times as he again on the outside works through 3 and 4, gets a better run, and will be nicely placed then to move back into place, move into position and try and figure something out. That Necky Racing Team car with the pink is still there, but Barendrecht's Basic Racing team is up at the front and doing what he needs to here with 25 laps to go the next time they cross the line. Lap 75 we're on right now. Moving to lap 76. Still, you can't help but figure that drivers are trying to jockey and position. This feels like a last 5 laps of the race ordeal that a lot of these drivers are going to be going for. Again, down low is Ben Bennyworth. He wants to move up on that low side. Wants to try and steal one up underneath, potentially, of Alex Everett as well. Once more, he'll get buffeted about, and the Prime Motorsports car is going to have to fall back in line in 4th position because Ollie Peters gets a good run. And once more, Alex Everett will see the outside of Thijs Barendregt and go, please let me down on that inside so I can really attack you, so I really have a chance to make something happen. That's the sort of game we've got, and again, it'll be up on that high side around the outside, trying to get it sorted. But once more, they leave each other just enough room. This for the first time. That's how close it could be over the line. Everett was ahead at the line last time by 4 thousandths of a second. It might just be about that drive out of 4 when lap 100 ticks over and scores itself complete. Ollie Peters will search up top. He wants to make it 3 wide. Stroh can't go any further on the fuel. He's diving in, and he might fall behind the likes of Stock and Pronk and Steadman with the green flag run. He didn't get the caution that he was so desperately hoping for today in this race. Another weight off the back of Thijs Barendregt at the front as he sees Stroh is pitting at this point in time. Still, though, on the backstretch, he's got to deal with the 2 Crest cars as Ollie Peters goes up to the high side once again, searching, trying to get back down low. He's not going to find what's needed, but again, you keep ticking them off. 21 laps worth of racing still here. Lap 80 of 100 starts. And you just wonder when someone like Inigo Mardones is going to make the move. It's about half a second back to Patrick Linderboom, who is just literally clawing on to this group at the front that races 2 and sometimes 3 wide at the front of this field. It's worth noting as well behind that Jeremy Pronk's got a sizable gap to make up to Nigel Stock out there on circuit. That's the battle for 7th and 8th. Dave Steadman as well in 9th. A large gap to try and close down. Paletta and Petter Anderson is going to be a very interesting one as well for 11th and 12th come the end of this race. But slow now is Alex Everett, and he's getting swarmed at this point. Bennyworth, that's Peters, getting swarmed. That's Bennyworth going through as well. So you can see that. 2 drivers then trying to fight for it and being caught up underneath into 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. It's not going to get you the job done here today. So they're really trying to figure it out. Everett trying to go to the high side, and Mardones down low. Might take one away here from Ollie Peters. And he does so. So Ollie falls back into 5th place. Mardones now up to 4th. Bennyworth in 3rd. Everett 2nd. Barendregt your leader. Can you find a bit of magic? Or is there one more sting left in the tail? Once more it goes 3 wide. As they try and charge on. Find the right move. Find the okay line that's going to get past the reigning champion. Everett again, not afraid to search that high line. Not afraid to search for that position. But once more, I'm afraid he can't find it. Starting to be covered off a little bit. Track generaling from Thijs Barendregt, trying to give himself some room on that inside. Nearly left the door open depending on how Everett was going to go. But you've got to start being brave. And here comes Bennyworth with a run, and he has to temper it. Had to temper it. He was scared of running into the back of Alex Everett. That would have caused a huge domino effect throughout the field. And it's these dominoes that are starting to tick over one by one as the laps continue to go down. 15 laps to go here from the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series at Kansas Speedway. 2 cautions that we've had so far today, and the battling on what has been relatively flatter banking has been all about, can you do what is needed? Not as flat as Milwaukee last time out, not like a New Hampshire, but for a 1.5 miler, there's just enough to give you that ability to run full throttle through the majority of the track. Everett still having to tick off these laps, and again having to slightly delay that turn in, as there's Inigo Mardones, position number 4. And again, a late move. Having to go up. Will Alex Everett, at what point will he decide that he'll throw the dice and go down? The big difference, they will also have to be careful because Ollie Peters has dropped back. Everyone being caught by Alfredo Morales here, who is 6 laps down now. So a lot to try and dissect. They don't want to be dealing with lap traffic in this one. But still, Everett, again, pushing the outside line, hoping there's something there. And once more, he'll find out that his work is fruitless at this moment. And there's trouble for Paletta on the back stretch. Found the wall, out of 4. Trying to drive himself down into the pits. Been a torrid day for Leonardo. This will be one of his drop rounds. Mark my words on it. Oh, how has Everett saved it? How has Alex Everett saved his race? A huge moment. Trying to go underneath Thijs Barendregt. They're coming out of 2 and into 3. He tried to go underneath. Barendregt shut the door down on him as Everett was on the apron. And this race still continues. Bennyworth is getting there. And Alex says on the radio to Thijs, you'd be leaving the door open there. I have every right to stick my nose where it belongs. And now it is Bennyworth's turn. With 10 laps to go, can he put some magic on Thijs Barendregt to get an all-important victory here at the Kansas Speedway? Inigo Mardones in 3rd. Everett with work to do now in 4th position. Peters and Linderboom back there fighting for 5th and 6th positions at this point in time as well. So they are pretty much out of it unless the front 4 suddenly collide together late on in this race. Lap 92. Bennyworth closing that gap in to about a 10th. Gets himself underneath. He'll try and look up high side. Figures that he gets caught up, but he goes all the way to the wall, trying to dip down and use gravity to advantage. and rework that run onto lap 93. Again, using the high line, trying to get it sorted. Barendregt slightly clips the apron that time by. And my goodness, Inigo Mardones might just be starting to make moves as well for the iRacing team as he tries to get himself into play. There is a little look as well as we look on the radio. Ollie Peters has to dive into the pits. He's got damage and his day is pretty much done late, and that is a real shame as he was in 6th position. So a few drivers are going to promote from this. Leaders, though, with themselves opportunities. A caution anywhere between 5 and 2 laps to go will end this race. Last lap, any accident, we continue on to the checker. Bennyworth again, up on the top of the circuit, tries to find the right angle. And it's just stalling out at the wrong time. They are just hitting the limits of what these Dallara IR18s can do. And it's just enough at this stage for car number 1. Ticking down the laps. 5 to go for the reigning champion. Inigo Mardones just behind in 3rd. Keeps himself in the fray. Everett in 4th is resigned to his fate. But again, Ben Bennyworth's going to have to find something special here. If he wants to win this race, he's got to find something. Inigo's got the unenviable task of getting past both drivers in the final 4 laps. Bennyworth again searching high, but he doesn't have enough to get alongside just yet. Might have a chance if he ducks underneath. Didn't have enough of an angle to do so. Still trying to ride the side draft here at Kansas. And now you started to see Barendregt take advantage of that. Move up the circuit a little bit. Take more air off of Ben Bennyworth. 3 laps to go. It's another case of soul searching for Ben Bennyworth, who has been close this season before. Tucks himself underneath. Again, it's a move up high side. You're going to have to be clever somewhere. With 2 laps to go, a couple popsicle sticks. Mardones starting to fall off the back of the group. And now this race, all of a sudden, becomes a little more problematic. Peters, by the way, is back out and racing again. He's in 7th position behind Nigel Stock. But here comes, again, Ben Bennyworth. This time riding the uber high line in. Trying to maximise the exit. And it really is struggle street as the white flag comes out. Once more, Bennyworth to the top. Same song. Still not happening. Mardones back there in 3rd. How many more times are you going to get there? Side by side through 3 and 4. Still the gap for Thijs Barendregt. Still he has mastered it from the front. The reigning champion bounces back from the mile and wins at Kansas. An incredible race which saw the top 2 in the championship all find themselves in trouble. And it's Thijs Barendregt who will take the win here today. Just the 5 finishers on the leading lap. Timothy Stroh will take 8th place. Not bad, actually, for having to come in and make a stop under green late on. But it'll be one which he knows he dropped points, and maybe this will be a drop round here today. Those are the qualifying results up on screen. We'll get the race results then for you in just a couple of seconds' time, because Thijs Barendregt from 5th on the grid has managed to sort it out. 49 minutes, 24 seconds. Wins by just a 10th over Ben Bennyworth in 2nd, with Inigo Mardones rounding out the top 3 for the iRacing team. Alex Deverett had his chances, was in the prime position in 2nd, had the door shut on him late on in the run, and ultimately that's why he dropped back into 4th position, just holding out Patrick Lindeboom there in 5th, the last finisher for 603 Autosport on the leading lap. Nigel Stock will take 6th with damage late for Ollie Peters. It'll be 7th for him and the Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks team. The first of the T&D cars, surprising to say it actually this season, is in 8th place with Timothy Stroh. This is points dropped for them today, with Lars Petter Andersen on his first start getting 9th, 2 laps down, and Jeremy Pronk rounding out the top 10. Day to forget for ALP, Leonardo Paletta 11th. In 12th is Alfredo Morales. Then you've got Dave Steadman and Steven de Grevelier 17 laps down, 13th and 14th. And then out of the race, you've got the likes of Jamie Jenkins, Fran Herrera, the Spaniard, and then the American Logan Egan, not quite able to find the right result today. But what an important day's worth of racing that has proven to be. Kansas has completely shaken up the championship. We're going to get a chance to talk with Thijs Barendregt here, who picked up the victory overall. And well, Thijs, there's not much more that you can say. When you're at the front here in Kansas, it makes life a whole lot easier to go out there and try and race for a victory. And it looked like every chance someone got too wide with you, it didn't quite fall into line for them. How important was this win today, knowing both the drivers ahead of you in the championship fell into troubles?
It was an interesting one. I had some damage as well from the incident where Dave and Timothy were involved in. I think Leonardo hit me, or Alfredo. I don't know. Someone hit me from behind that was there at that time. I had some damage on the rear. I had to use the fast repair, and luckily I had enough speed to carry on. And the yellow really saved me the first one. And then after that, I don't know what Alex did on the restart of the second caution. Like, he gave me the inside, and I went for it, and since then I was leading. Like, it was good for me, so.
Certainly was. Let's talk about what happened with just a number of laps to the end. It looked like you were trying to extend out open on the circuit, force drivers a little bit further out around you. How surprised were you to look on your inside and see Alex Everett trying to stick his nose down the inside?
Yeah, I thought I was like keeping the half a car to the white line. I was for the beginning of the straight, and then I didn't think Alex had a big enough run, and he actually didn't have a big enough run. Like, I didn't get anything from car on the left or anything, and then I saw that Alex was on the apron off with his left tires and almost crashed out. But I want to say to him, I'm sorry that he dragged me into the air, but no, I was trying to get a bit more space on the right on corner entry of turn 3, because at the end I think you saw it on the last few laps, like I was sliding a bit wider up the track because the tires were just going. So I was a bit surprised Alex won from the inside, but he had to do something. Like, I think there was only one lap of like the 40 or 50 laps that he was behind me that he was actually ahead on the start finish line. So I was more afraid that he was going to try and learn how he could do that again, and then managed to do it on the start finish line. But he tried that, and I think it's a good try.
Well, it was a very good attempt from all of these drivers, but it's the first foray into a road course, Watkins Glen, a week from today. Firstly, how are you feeling about road courses? And secondly, as well, your teammate Lars Petter Anderson joining you then for this first race that he's done. How important is it to have a teammate that you can put confidence in like Lars?
It's very important. In quali, wanted to see if something worked, and Lars tried it and it worked really well. He wasn't actually happy about his lap, but he didn't know what the benchmark was for quali, and it was actually a really good benchmark. And I did exactly the same thing, and I just had a good quali for once, so it really helped actually to have a teammate. And I'm really looking forward to Watkins Glen. I think I heard Timothy say last week that he doesn't really enjoy the road courses, but I really do. So I hope I can extend or get closer. I don't know how the championship's looking, but I hope I can score more points than Timothy can next week.
Well, we will certainly see. Before we let you go, Ty, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done?
Well, good job by BRT, and in particular thanks to Lars. And hi, Michael, if you're still watching. Thanks for the awesome strategies always.
No worries at all. Thijs Barendregt there joining us. A big victory overall. We're going to see if we can get the chance to jump in with someone who finished in second position today. A long road back through for Ben Bennyworth. Ben, always going to be tough, fast track like this, but you had to come through the field twice today to get to second. Well, hopefully we'll have a Ben here. We do not have a Ben here, which is a shame. We'll try again potentially later. We'll grab Alex Everett in for a bit of a chat then in the meanwhile. Alex, right position, right time, just had the door shut on you.
Yeah, that's probably the best description of it. I only had my front wing alongside his rear wing, but he did come down the track. That's what I'll say. I mean, I put myself on the apron, but to avoid the a potential accident. I felt the move was on. It's a risky move, yeah. I'll give you all that, but I had to try something. Thijs even said it. So I refer to it as a block, but I'm not going to take any action on it. It's I probably half deserved it, putting myself in that situation earlier on, giving Thijs the lead. I did that to try and sort of save a little bit of fuel, but also to try and break away from the guys behind. But Thijs was defending the lead, so didn't quite go to plan.
Not quite to plan, but still an important points haul today. Fourth place is still nothing to shake a stick at, especially when you're looking at the top drivers in the championship effectively using this one today as a drop round. Do you feel like today has opened a door potentially for you to get back into it, knowing you're heading to a road course next?
I hope so, yeah. I'm really confident going into the road courses next. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll see what I can do there. But in terms of the ovals, I'm not too confident about Iowa coming up. But Kentucky I'm very confident about, so we'll see how we get on there. I pretty much think I'm out of the running for the championship, because as you said, drop rounds, if the guys at the top are dropping this round, then it pretty much doesn't do me any favours, because I haven't had a podium yet this season. I'm not scoring enough points to be contending, so I'm just going to have to do what I can to try and break into the top 3 potentially, but that's all I can do at this point.
Certainly is. Before we let you go then, Alex, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done?
Big shout out to Apex Tracks again, providing the prizes for this league. You guys as usual, and my parents for watching.
Well, we've always got to thank the parents. Alex Everett there joining us then with a 4th place finish then from this very important race. That's pretty much going to wrap things up for us here today from the Kansas Speedway with Crest Autosport TV. A massive thanks has to go to everyone who has got it done, from all the work that has been done behind the scenes by Crest Autosport to get this championship off the ground, and as well to the likes of Apex Tracks, the motorsport and motor racing circuit wall art racetrack sculpture designers who manufacture using Formula One and motorsport inspired rapid prototyping technologies. That goes along with Track Racer, 603 Autosport, Digital Motorsport, Esports Sim, and the GP Box as well. From William Foyle, who's been producing this one, I've been Jake Sperry. That, for Thijs Barendregt, is a way back into the championship. The runaway train, never looking back, was going to be Timothy Stroh. He did everything right on pole, but the moment it started to get tough on tyres, it's the first time car 44 has made a truly big mistake that has cost him his race outright. Of course, he had that spin earlier at Auto Club, but that was a spin. This was an incident, and Paletta also getting caught up where normally he wouldn't traditionally do so. Chances, though, are different. We'll be heading, of course, to Watkins Glen. That will be a week from today. Make sure you check it out. That's the halfway round of the season, don't you know? So keep yourself in mind. We've got great racing coming up. Crest Autosport will always be the place of amazing racing.